So I want to thank you, first of all. I'm speaking today with Patrick. It's Patrick Deshane, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
and Patrick, your specific, now, so you are with Canada Border Services Agency at the Sault, Ontario Port of Entry. What is your exact role with CBSA?
I am the acting chief of operations for the port of entry, and we cover a wide range of area from North Bay all the way to between here and Thunder Bay.
Okay. All right. So a very, very busy, very important job. So we are sneaking up on a very, very busy time, although I would imagine certainly many holidays will increase the rush of traffic across the border both ways.
Yeah, December, Christmas travel, New Year's is we see an increase of travel from our regular volume. So this is definitely a peak time for travelers visiting family and students returning back home from all various areas. So this we do see an increase in traffic volumes.
Okay, and certainly as a border town, bargain hunters, I'm sure, are, increasing the volume as well. So I thought it would be a great opportunity just to remind those who have the intention of traveling internationally, crossing the border, just to highlight some of the tips that will make crossing that much simpler and more straightforward. What would you say are, the top three challenges that prevent a smooth crossing?
Well, I definitely advise people to check the Canada Border Service website. That website has a wealth of information, border
Okay.
wait times. You can click in any land port of entry across the country. You can see the wait times. You can plan your travel better around the border wait times. Having your identification ready and
Okay.
to expedite your entry. We Those are the two main things. If you're traveling with children that are not your own, to make sure you have authorization letter from the parent or guardian of those children,
Okay.
and including their address, their phone number, so that the customs officer is able to verify the entry with these children.
That makes sense. I actually, a follow-up question to that particular point. If you are traveling with children, even at like, so let's say I'm crossing with my two daughters, they don't yet have passports. Are they still able to cross with me? I have a passport.
Yeah, oh yes, they're still able to cross. Ideally, if you have a health card or a birth certificate,
Okay.
that's suitable for your own children. Yes,
Okay. Okay. But if you are an adult, a passport is the best way to cross the border, correct?
that's the ideal way. But if you have a Nexus card,
Hmm.
a Canada permanent residence identification card,
Hmm.
as well as enhanced driver's license, anything that has your photo and acknowledges your citizenship, those
Okay.
forms of ID are ideal for crossing the border.
Okay, so you did send out, or CBSA rather, proper did send out, quite a lovely summary of, covering a lot of different bases. What was interesting to me was, going back to the notion of the bargain hunters, don't wrap your presents. You have to have them open when you cross, correct?
Yes, correct. Especially at this time of year, if you're bringing gifts into the country, do not wrap them until you get to Canada. All goods entering the country are subject to examination. So if
Right.
an officer wants to examine what you're bringing in and you've wrapped your present, they could ask you to unwrap it. And so
Right.
the goods have to be available to be examined.
Okay. Now, are there any, okay, so somebody is crossing the border to stay with family. Is there any limit as to how long a person can be in the United States, for example? And how does that change coming back in, or does it at all?
Regarding exemption limits, and so there's different exemptions based on your absence from the country. So
Okay.
if most people, cross-border shoppers who are in the United States for 24 hours or less, there
Okay.
is no exemption to your goods if you're gone just for the day. All
Okay.
goods are subject to taxes and duties.
Mhm.
As for absences between 21 night, 24 hours to 48 hours,
Yeah.
you are allowed $200 per person to
Okay.
return to Canada. However, that does not include alcohol or tobacco products. For
Okay.
alcohol and tobacco to be part of your exemption, you have to be absent from the country for 48 hours. And then if you're absent for 48 hours, you're allowed $800 per person
Okay.
upon returning.
Okay.
And then it goes, if you're between 48 hours and 7 days,
Mhm.
the $800 is the max regarding your regardless of how long you're out of the country.
Mhm.
But if you are less than a week and you're returning to Canada, all the goods you declare or that you want to be exempt for taxes and duties must be in your possession. If you're
Okay.
gone longer than
Okay.
a week, you can have goods to follow in the future as part. Say you bought something and it's going to be sent to you, you can
Right.
use that exemption if you've been absent longer than 7 days.
Okay. And of course, I mean, this is a lot of, technical information.
Yes.
So all of this would be available on the website that you referenced earlier on, right?
Yes,
So,
if for your viewer, our website's
mhm. Mhm.
www.cbsa-asfc.gc.ca, and that website would, like I said, it highlights border wait times, the travel documents required, advanced declarations, exemption limits. It's identifies goods that are prohibited from entry into Canada. So it's
Right.
a good tool to use prior to arriving.
Right. In the media release, I did notice that there is specific note made with regards to cannabis, around which, legalities are considerably more relaxed now, but it's a straight up no, don't bring it in, don't take it out sort of thing.
Yeah, despite that it is a common a misconception with travelers, especially because in where we are, Michigan,
Mhm.
cannabis is legal, Ontario cannabis is legal, but it is still prohibited to be imported or exported between the two countries. And you could uh, receive significant penalties depending on the quantities that you would have.
Right. Okay. All right. So, it's important then to make note of that. So, really, I think what I'm hearing from you is the best thing that a traveler can do is to do some research, like allocate the time to really kind of, get the information that is required up front. If you have, if you are planning, you, the viewer, if you are planning on traveling across the border, do yourself a favor, go to the CBSA website and find out in advance to save yourself time and aggravation in crossing, because certainly the agents at the border, they're not trying to make it difficult, but they are tasked with a very important job, keeping the border safe and making sure that Canadian residents are able to travel safely. Patrick, I just really want to thank you for taking the time again, acknowledging what a busy time, and you guys are ramping up to kind of manage peak volumes of travelers. So it's pleasing to me that we were able to take this time and go over some of the points. Is there anything else that you would add?
No, just to yourself and your viewers and listeners, warmest holiday wishes and safe travels.
Thank you very much, and same to you.
Take care. Thanks.